Then his mother and his brothers came, and standing outside, they sent to him and called him. A crowd was sitting around Jesus, and they said to him, "Your mother and your brothers and sisters are outside asking for you." And he replied, "Who are my mother and my brothers?" Amen. Please be seated. You know what it's like when you go to the grocery store and you've got your cart and you put in your food or your produce into your cart, and you see a face and you look at that person and you think, "I know him, but I don't remember his name, and I can't remember where I met him. He's out of context." And then he goes, "Oh, this is Ken," and I'm like, "Oh, Ken from church, of course." It actually happens to me. Some of you may have recognized that every once in a while. It's out of that context, right? You're used to seeing somebody in one place, and out of the blue you see them in some very different place, and you're like, "Who is this person?" Takes us out of our comfort zone, doesn't it? It's like, what's going on here? How do I recognize the world around me, this person, in the midst of my daily busy life? It is the right person in the wrong place. There's the wrong place in the right person. You never know what you're going to find, even when it's out of context, because something just might not compute at that time. Now, who is Jesus? I love this gospel lesson, but who is he? It's very jarring. It's a question, I think, of, is this really the guy that we know? There's no blessing of little children. There's no story or parable of the Good Samaritan. He's going out of his mind. Did you hear that? His mother and his brothers and sisters came and said, "He's going out of his mind." We don't think of Jesus going out of his mind. We think of him as calm, cool, and collected. Something just doesn't compute. Different place, but the same person. Same person in a different place. For even he then goes on to say, "How can you say that to me about Satan? How can Satan cast out Satan? It makes no sense," he says. It just doesn't compute. Doesn't ring true. It's not that which we know. It's out of context and it's out of place. Again, it's the right person being accused of being in the wrong place. Something, somehow, is out of place, and it doesn't compute. And then we go a little bit further, and it says, right where I read from, it says, the family was standing outside. And this is when I think the hairs on the back of our head can start to, go up a little bit. The family, all those people we love and know, those people that gave us birth and raised us and gave us our morals and our values, they're not in the circle. That's not what we like to think of when we think of Jesus. They're outside the circle. And then he asks that question, who is my mother? Who are my brothers and my sisters? It's not a linear statement, is it? It doesn't feel that comfortable. A good number of years ago, maybe 5 or 6, a new television show was broadcast called It's a funny one because it doesn't compute. Remember All in the Family? That shook us up as a society as much as Modern Family. My Three Sons is what we were used to watching. For Modern Family brings together what we call blended families in race. There's a gay couple that adopts a child. You know, this is modern life, but it still feels a little bit awkward. We're still trying to put it on and wear it. And how comfortable or uncomfortable is it? Sometimes it plain and simply doesn't compute to our lives here in Stowe, Vermont. And yet sometimes it does. When we want to domesticate Jesus, put him in a box, tell Jesus what he is and who he is and where he's going to go and what he's going to do. You know, kind of like those Pharisees today. They said, look at this, we got to restrain him. We got to box him in. It's kind of like in basketball when they box somebody out from getting close to the basket. Especially in the Final Four, right, Patty? It's a good strategy there. Here we don't want to let Jesus out of that box. Because crazy things happen. Things that don't compute. Things that challenge us at our core when Jesus gets out of that box. It gets a little scary. Even as some of you know, I play ice hockey. One of my favorite sports. And that puck, you know, that little piece of rubber, it never goes where you want it to go. Never! Even if you pass it to somebody, it's always ricocheting off the boards. It goes haywire. And yet, as we know, it is a game. And it has rules. It's not what you expect it to do. Something goes haywire, even in the midst of a box. It just plain and simply doesn't compute. But that is the gift of Mark's gospel. Mark's gospel is not a nice gospel. There's not a lot of flowers growing in the soil of the Gospel of Mark. So you better get ready. We're about to hear Mark. We're about, ready for this? 6 months. We're going to hear Sunday after Sunday about things that don't compute. That don't go in linear ways, in a linear fashion. They can't be contained in a box like today. It's hard to contain that which what Jesus says because it's not our box. It's not a box that we contain. It's not a box that Jesus contains. It is radical. Not in what we think of as a modern, radical, wild, and crazy way, but as in the definition of going to the roots, going deep, going down into the depths of God. Because from there the flower can spring. Flower, you don't know what's going to come up. It might be bright pink, it might be blue, it might be the purple of Hal's shirt. Beautiful. Gorgeous. But wild. That's what will compute.